I've been known to spit the flows and make the shaky, shaky thing. Poppin', lock and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like a stain.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio on this September 13th. Lovely day, beautiful week here in Connecticut, New England, downtown Danbury. We are here, Comcast Cable Channel 23, 6 to 6:30. Show, of course, re-airs on Friday from 1 to 1:30. Yeah, it has been gorgeous as we hear the voice of one Mr. Bob Rod Jr. over on the other side of the camera. On the other side of the glass. What's going on there, Bob? How you doing?
I'm having good. I'm good. You know, the Giants are off this week, so
Giants have been sitting around, stewing, mulling over that difficult loss that they had to the Cowboys on that what seems to be an eternity ago. Wednesday it was of last week. So they sit and stew. As we sit and stew with Bob in the technical difficulties. It's one thing after another here on Comcast Cable Channel 23. But anyways, his Giants are stewing over the whole deal, losing, and Bob is he's having some problems.
I guess I'm having technical difficulties
Big
here.
Technical difficulties. All right, well, maybe we don't have Bob on mic tonight. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to ramble on myself. He's
Can you
supposed
hear
to
me
give
better
us
now?
The update on
right. We got me now, I guess. So it's.
Are you back, Bob?
All right, I'm back.
Are you here with me?
Yes.
All right. Let's try this over.
Let's try this over.
So what's going on? Let's pump up this racing
reunion.
Thing. Yeah, well, 2 more weeks, right? Not this weekend. The weekend after.
Huh?
The 28th.
It's next Sunday, the September 23rd.
23rd it is.
Yes.
Sunday the 23rd over at the PAL building.
At the PAL building, yes. We have drivers that used to race at the Danbury Fair Race Arena. We'll have cars. We'll have also have guys who have street rods, hot rods, all types of stuff. You know, it'll really be a good turnout. So it's from 11 to 4. So come on out and enjoy the.
And you're going to be on, I'm sure you're pumping it up on your show Spotlight On, which
Yes.
appears on Tuesdays at 9 and Wednesdays at 12 noon, Tuesdays 9 o'clock at night.
And we'll be on next Thursday night on
Thursday.
Marty Heiser's show for to do some stuff on their reunion. So
You'll get some of the reunion guys.
yes, we'll
on
have some of
show.
the reunion guys to be on. So the committee and
So if you want to know more about the upcoming reunion over there at the PAL building across from the town park, you can tune into Marty Heiser's show next Thursday night.
Or you can go to www.snyra.org.
Snyra, SNYRA.org. So you can check that stuff out there. Let's give mention to the fact that this week it is John Newmuller,
who's
performing octopus duty in the studio.
Yeah, and Mike Toohey is missing in action.
Expose Cinema is on Expose somewhere. So John, of course, his show Danbury Live is on Saturdays at 7 and it re-airs Tuesdays at 11 a.m. So you can see what's going on in the world of politics around the Danbury area. And those times and dates. So we'll hopefully John doesn't have any problems in there handling all the controls by himself. I know it gets a little dicey, and then we start with the technical difficulties
beyond our control.
And everything's out of control. But we are live. 203-792-4101 is the number. If you want to give a call in, we'll be here for a little while talking sports. And we are going to start the show by talking about the legend. And yes, that is right. He is a legend. Coach Calhoun finally decides that enough is enough. And he retires today, as a matter of fact. This afternoon, he had the press conference to officially announce his retirement at the age of 70. 73 wins. 873 wins for the coach. The New Englander that he is. And he had a fractured hip on a bike accident in his off-season home in Madison. And, he had the big back problems last year. And, of course, we know he's had bouts with cancer, which caused him some time in 3 separate occasions over the years. So he survived cancer 3 times and all the other things. But Coach Calhoun, who here in Connecticut can do no wrong, even though around the country in recent years there's been some, accusations, and they proved a few things. Minor, if you ask me, a bunch of hogwash, in my opinion. But, no wrong in my eyes. Coach Calhoun, one of the greats of all time, not just, here in Connecticut as far as coaching goes, but one of the all-time college basketball coaching icons. Really took a program, Connecticut, which had done nothing ever, and he built it up into be a top 5, top 3 all-time program in the last 26 years. 1986 he came in, and they won the NIT, in 87?
Yes.
And that was only the beginning for Coach Calhoun, and who could ever remember never forget 1989, when it really began, the run. The dream season, Tate George, the impossible shot down there in the Meadowlands over Clemson at the buzzer. Scotty Burrell throws the long distance pass, 1 point something seconds left, and Tate George buries that baseline jumper in the tournament to keep them dancing. Of course, things would go wrong in the next game against Duke, who they ended up having a big rivalry with, as Leitner broke their hearts in a similar fashion as to what they did to Clemson with a buzzer-beating shot after Tate George had the turnover in his hand that would have ended the game and sent them to the Final Four. But their time would come later. He ended up getting 10 regular season Big East titles, 7 Big East Conference champion titles, 4 Final Four appearances, and 3, count them, 3 national titles. So after '89, the dream season, it was all in for Connecticut fans. It was Husky Nation, Husky pride, and it became really the biggest sports story in this area, as the media was all over it. The fans just were diehard and just followed every move for that basketball program. And eventually, it came down to 1999.
Yes, that was
34-2 record, and they go to the Final Four, and they face off with Duke, who at that point had already firmly entrenched themselves as the top program in the land. And it looked like Duke, everybody figured, was going to do it again. Elton Brand was there, and they had only, 1 loss on that season? And they were beating teams by 30-plus points a game throughout the tournament, throughout the year. They looked like a juggernaut. But no, it was Coach Calhoun leading his UConn Huskies to one of the greatest wins in tournament history, a 77-74 defeat over Duke. I remember it well. I was living in Atlanta at the time, and I'm not ashamed to say that I made a complete scene in the bar that I was in with a friend of mine watching that game, as we went nuts, surrounded by Duke fans who were giving us no respect at all during that game, saying Duke was going to win this thing, Duke was going to win this thing. And we just said, you wait, you watch. The defense is getting it done. They made enough shots. Ricky Moore had a great game. Mika Okafor was on that team. And they did get their first of what would be 3 titles with that epic, just thrilling win over Duke, 77-74. And then 4 years later, 2004, they go ahead and take down Georgia Tech after knocking off Duke in a thrilling semifinal in the Final Four there, beating Duke again after they were down, 11 points with 4 minutes to go in that game, Bob?
Yeah.
Unbelievable game that was. Mika Okafor was on that team, and that was just incredible. Did I say Okafor for the 99 team? It was Khaled El Amin I meant for that, but it was Okafor and big shot Ben Gordon on the 2004 team, and it was just incredible. Their comeback against Duke in those final minutes. Okafor was in foul trouble all game long, but when they let him play finally in that last 4 minutes, it was all Connecticut, and it was all done for Duke. And then they routed the other ACC opponent, Georgia Tech, in the final for their second title.
We have help in the control room.
Has Mr. Tui arrived?
No, we have Rich Merritt in the control room.
Oh, Rich Merritt, all right. Uncle Buck makes an appearance. I'm sure Uncle Buck has seen a lot of UConn basketball games, knows well what I'm talking about, these incredible moments in the life and times of the UConn Huskies over the years. And then they cap it off 2 years ago with really one of the most improbable runs ever. Their struggling season, really seemingly going nowhere. But no, wait a second. 11 straight postseason wins they run off in the Big East tournament and then the NCAA tournament to get their 3rd title. And it was just unbelievable performance. Game after game after game, they get it done, and they knock off Butler in that one. And in a low-scoring game, for the most part, it wasn't a great game overall, but they put them away late, and they got their 3rd title. And Calhoun comes back amidst the allegations from the year before, and he gets them the championship. Last year, of course, wasn't great. They did make the tournament. He was out with the back problems for decent parts of the season, and they really struggled without his guidance there. So we wonder what will happen this year without his guidance. Kevin Ollie will be taking over, at least in the interim. We'll see if he becomes the long-term coach or if they look in another direction. But Ollie has been the guy who people have been looking to as being the new head coach, so he gets the job. And interestingly enough, Bob, did you know? Of course, we know that he coached at Northeastern.
Right.
200-plus wins there in his 14 years with Northeastern. He took them from Division II right into Division I and ended up having them make 4 NCAA appearances in his career there at Northeastern. But here's your quick trivia question, Bob.
Okay.
Where did Coach Calhoun begin his coaching career? College or otherwise?
I have no idea.
Old Lyme High School is where he started it all.
What year was that?
I don't know the exact year that was, but he did begin his coaching career in high school at Old Lyme, Connecticut, as a matter of fact. Very nice. And then he played, after he had played, as a matter of fact, at American International in Springfield, Mass. He was a good player there. And, of course, he's the native of Braintree, Mass. And, he's the New Englander through and through. And he stayed coaching in New England ranks throughout, whether it was high school or then in the college ranks, and of course finishing it off in the last 26 years. So hats off to Coach Calhoun on a tremendous career, just an amazing accomplishment for him to build a program, as we mentioned, who had no success ever, and he takes them, and the Big East at the time, you think about it, St. John's dominant, Georgetown dominant, Villanova dominant, Syracuse dominant. Seton Hall even making it to a championship game there. And here comes Calhoun and the UConn Huskies, and they built it all off that NIT championship. And he said after that NIT championship that the place, UConn went crazy. The fans, the media, everybody, they were just so happy that they were on the right track. They felt it then. Cliff the Rock Robinson led that team and to that NIT championship, and it was this building block for them. And he could feel it here at Stores, at Connecticut, that the fan base was going to be behind him, and he started getting players. He started putting players in the NBA. He ran that program, and guys just kept wanting to come to Connecticut and play, and it all culminated with that first title in '99, ending with that third title in 2001. They get that one in the middle of 2004. So incredible run by him. Not too many coaches get to say they won 3 titles in the NCAA, and he gets to say that. All right, so we did want to give him plenty of time because we love Coach Calhoun, and he deserves it. They're telling me I need to move on because we got a lot of other things to talk about. I could wax poetic about Coach Calhoun all day, but we will move on quickly. Let's stick with UConn, and we'll just touch on that college football.
Which was
the
a
good
disaster.
vibes from a week ago as they beat UMass ended quickly as NC State handled them 10-7 in a game that they could have won easily. They had good field position all first half. They couldn't get anything going. The conditions were not great, rain and wind. But the NC State front line really was in the backfield, all day.
Oh, yeah.
Putting pressure on so they could get nothing going. Now they're, coming off that terrible loss.
Right.
They go to Maryland to face old friend Randy Edsall on Saturday afternoon at 12:30.
That could be a very...
If they lose that game, Pasqualoni's going to have some splaining to do, basically, because the fan base, as much as they're all about Coach Calhoun, they will be all over Pasqualoni soon.
Yeah.
If he can't beat Randy Edsall, who we know brought them to a BCS game and bowl game there So that's going to be a real big game for them. They have to play well in this game. Maryland hasn't been great since Edsel went there. It'd be nice for UConn to go down there. I just don't know, really, offensively, what this team has. Defensively, they have looked very good. So hopefully the defense can keep them in this game, and offensively they can get something done. Conditions maybe will be a little bit better this time around than they were Saturday at the rink, but we'll see. I must have mentioned that my Colorado State Rams went belly up against Division II foe North Dakota State, 22-7 loss at home. What's that?
Mike's here.
Oh, and Mr. Tui is here as well. So now we got the gang going here. It took a while. What Mike thinking the show started at 6:30 again?
Oh, he's not in the house.
Oh, all right. False alarm.
House.
Anyways, so the Rams lose.
Okay.
We look inside the numbers. ND State is the Division II champion, and they are 6-3 against BCS teams over the last few years. So they are no foe to shake your stick at. They're a pretty good team, but still disappointing. And my Rams get San Jose State. There were some good things happening over the weekend. Nebraska lost. Arkansas lost and got knocked out of the top 25. An epic drop for a top 25 team. USC beat Syracuse 42-29, so Syracuse didn't play all that bad.
Right.
Big game this weekend, Notre Dame, Michigan State.
Oh, that was a very good game.
Well, that's it. They're playing this weekend, so we'll see if it's a good game.
Oh, I thought you meant it was last week.
Right. Stay with me, Bob.
I'm working on that.
Stay with me, Bob.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's switch to baseball because we got to get to the first week of NFL quickly. We'll just run through it. The Dead Sox, having gone 1-11, winning one of their last 12 games, enter their series with the Yankees, are holding on for dear life.
I thought they won the World Series the other night, the way it was.
Oh, boy, nice win there, walk-off win. Happy birthday, Jacoby Ellsbury, with the big knock in the ninth inning to get it done in that 4-3 walk-off win. And the Orioles beat Tampa at the same time, so they moved into a tie, and then the Orioles won again last night. The Red Sox couldn't pull it off last night, losing 5-4.
So close.
They were right there, so they're grinding it out. They're trying to get something done here.
And we still don't know yet.
I don't know the result. They were tied in extra innings when we were getting set up here. 13-inning Orioles-Rays were tied 2-2. So we do not know if the O's are a half game up or a half game behind. Maybe Rich Merritt has that score for us.
I don't know. Rich,
Does
you
Rich
have any idea who won the... We're
going
working
to try
on
to
it.
effort that score for you. Here's what's going on. For everybody who's giddy about, maybe the Red Sox giving the Yankees problems and the Yankees falling out, let's look at the schedule. Home against Tampa this weekend. Tampa does give them fits. Nova will be returning, I believe, Saturday. Then they're home against Toronto. Andy Pettit will return on Tuesday for that series. Toronto recently did give them problems, but Toronto's not that great. Then they are home against Oakland, who has been playing very well. Oakland, by the way, had 11-game road winning streak, the longest road winning streak by any team since the mid-'70s in MLB. So Oakland's going to be tough. But then they finish at Minnesota, 59-83 team. They stink. And at Toronto, who, they could be good, they could be bad. We don't know. Teixeira is still out. Maybe he'll be back by then.
And
we're not too sure. Jeter got banged up last night. He's DHing tonight. We'll see how he responds to this little injury. He's got A-Rod, we know, is back now. But they finish at Minnesota, at Toronto, and home to Boston. So the Orioles better get out in front by the time the Yankees get to play Minnesota, Toronto, and Boston to finish. And quickly, what's up with the schedule ending in October? The last 3 games of the year are in October. I thought they were trying to get the season to end earlier, not later.
And then we got a double wild card, which makes no sense.
The Orioles are finishing up with Tampa. I know, I don't get it. They go at Oakland tomorrow, at Seattle, at Boston. Then they're home for Toronto, home for Boston, and at Tampa to finish. So plenty of interesting things to go on. There we see the A's. We mentioned that 11-game winning streak. So Oakland is playing very well. As a matter of fact, 81-60. So they are, and the Yankees were 80-62. So they were actually better than the Yankees going into today's action. Wild card, the Angels, they're kind of still there. The Tigers are the team that's really fallen off, but they're still 2 games out of Chicago. So we'll see. In the Rays, not doing themselves any favors losing these 2 games to the Orioles. The National League has gotten a little bit interesting,
Well,
Bob.
I don't have to worry about my Mets, but
Your Mets stink.
I know. Hey,
how about
we
this?
still got
Bob,
one chance of going for a
Bob,
20-game winner.
Stop the presses, Bob. The Phillies are 3.5 games out of the wild card, and the Brewers are 4 games out of the wild card.
Okay, we got confirmation. The Orioles beat the Rays 3-2.
So the Orioles are a half game up on the Yankees. More pressure on the Yankees tonight. It's Dubront against Phil Hughes, I believe, pitching tonight. We'll see. Hughes has not been good on the road. He's been good at home, but not on the road.
It's not the starting pitcher they have to worry about. It's the bullpen.
Hey, well, the Red Sox need to score some runs if they want to do some damage. All right, so some interesting things. The Dodgers are 1 game out, but the Phillies and the Brewers creeping up, and the Phillies' schedule favors the Phillies, so don't count them out. Quickly, tennis, we'll mention it fast. 76 years. Great Britain's great drought is over. Andy Murray ends it in an epic match against Djokovic on Monday. Tears in his eyes, I guess. That was a great match. I watched almost all of it. I missed the beginning, but I was in tune to that. It was a tremendous match. Both players really gave great effort after Murray won the first 2 sets and then lost the second 2 sets. All right, football, let's do it. We're not going to get much time on it. Jets, how about this? They take off 48-28, most opening day points in the history of the New York Jets after they scored no touchdowns basically in the preseason, not with their starting unit at least. So the Bills were horrible. Horrible, Bob.
They were terrible.
Jets, we'll see how they do at Pittsburgh, which lost to the Broncos on Sunday night. Peyton's place is now in Denver. But the Jets did look good. Sanchez, 19 for 27, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Tebow was a non-factor. In fact, he was so much of a non-factor that he got booed when they put him in to run that Wildcat. They was getting in the way of good things happening for the offense. It was a good game for the Jets. We mentioned they're at Pittsburgh, who gets some of their defensive players back. And Pittsburgh's offense played very well, actually, against the Broncos. They controlled the ball the whole night. Defensively, they couldn't stop Peyton, though, so we'll see what happens Sunday afternoon come 4:25. The Patriots played a ho-hum 34-13. Nice rushing attack, solid defense. The rookies, Chandler Jones, strip sack, Dante Hightower, fumble return for a touchdown, Tavon Wilson, interception. Brandon Lloyd, the receiver who they signed to take the place of Deion Branch, 5 catches, 69 yards. Ridley taking over for the law firm. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. He looked good. They are home for their home opener Sunday, 1 o'clock against the Arizona Cardinals, who did come up with a win against Seattle. Big stories around the league. Redskins, RG3 stunned the Bounty Saints, 40-32. Impressive performance. The Saints were 8-0 at home last year, and they were the pick. If you listened to Sports Talk last week, everybody said the Saints would come out with a chip on their shoulder because of all the bounty stuff, and they would beat up on the Skins. Not so fast. 40-32. RG3 looked great in his opener, and he will get to play at home, I guess, this weekend. Some tight games around the league. Shockers, Philly and Detroit. Last-minute rallies over the Browns and the Rams. Both those teams gave them efforts, and the Eagles and the Lions did not look good. A lot of interceptions, but they came up with the goods late in the final minutes to get the wins for their teams there. Philly gets to take on Baltimore this weekend. Oh boy, watch out. Baltimore had quite a game on Monday night against Cincinnati. Other big games, 49ers dominant at Lambeau. If it wasn't for the refs picking up a flag on a clear block in the back on the kick return, this game would not have been close at all, as the Niners clearly look like the team to beat in the NFC. They add Randy Moss. He gets a touchdown and some other parts on offense, and they look good. 49ers dominate at Lambeau. Watch out now, because the Packers get to play on a short week. They get games now on Thursday nights every week.
Yeah, I know.
Which I don't particularly like.
That doesn't make a lot of sense
for everybody, but short week. They get the Bears, who said no luck for the Colts in their opener. The Bears look good. They added weapons. Brandon Marshall, watch out. He looks good. Matt Forte played well. and they dominated the Colts. So the Bears play at Green Bay tonight on the short week.
Yeah.
Tough task for those Packers coming off a bitter loss to the Niners. Other big games, Minnesota and Jacksonville. This was a big game. It was an interesting game. A lot of drama. AP, Adrian Peterson, returns for 2 TDs. But more importantly, first game ever where both teams get the ball in overtime, even though the first team scored, Minnesota. And they get to those new overtime rules, which they introduced in the playoffs last year, but we didn't get to see. This year they instituted for the regular season as well. We saw it right away, and Minnesota won. I mentioned the Bears with their win. Houston and Atlanta both had very impressive wins. Houston dismantling Dolphins. Yes. The Falcons, Tony Gonzalez returning to Kansas City for the first time after his great career. How about this for a stat? If I told you Tony Gonzalez has never been a part of a playoff victory, would you believe it?
Sure.
Well, it's true. Tony Gonzalez, great career, still has never played in a game where his team has won a playoff game. So I found that to be an interesting thing I heard going into the season. But the Falcons looked very good, and they get the Broncos, who were impressive against the Steelers, at home this weekend. So that's a big game. Ravens dominated the Bengals. Big games this weekend. We mentioned Bears at Packers. Your Giants, who we were talking about at the top of the show, they get Tampa, who shut down the Cam show, unplugged it for sure. Tampa was very impressive against Carolina. Tampa comes to town, and if the G-Men don't get that, they have a short week because they play Thursday next week against those Panthers. So that's going to be tough. Giants better come up with a win against Tampa. Greg Schiano returning to his roots. The Rutgers guy coming back 1-0 against the 0-1 Giants. Other big games, we mentioned Baltimore, Philly, New Orleans against the Panthers, Skins at Rams. Watch out, that could be a trap game. Dallas at Seattle. I like that as a trap game. Seattle played pretty well. Dallas sitting around waiting since they beat down those Giants. And it's the return of Romo to Seattle. First time since the infamous botched snap kick playoff ended Bill Parcells' coaching career. Other big games, Detroit at San Francisco Sunday night. Monday night, it's Denver at Atlanta. And it is worth noting before we sign off, 5 rookie QBs started this weekend. RG3 was the only one. The Dolphins, Browns, Seahawks, and Colts all lost.
Bye-bye.
All right, we will see you next time. Enjoy those games.
2 weeks, right?
We're working on trying to be here next week, but it doesn't look good. But we might be off for a couple weeks. We'll see. Thanks for all the help in the studio by the guys. Great job as usual. We'll see you when we see you. Enjoy the games.